You want to make sure you've done everything you can to set them up for the skill portion, for them to step into the opportunity. And if you've done all of that, then the choice becomes exceptionally easy. It becomes pragmatic and quick. This is where the hire slow, fire fast can happen. But you as a leader have got to take the necessary steps to set the expectations and provide the framework. That's your job.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.
First time here, welcome. This is called 10X Owners Live. The reason it's called live is because we're live. In fact, behind me is the 702. If you know what the 702 is, that is the city of sin. Right behind me is Las Vegas. There's a big real estate conference where Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone, Brandon Dawson, Natalie Dawson are all making a big appearance at the EXPCon. So that's why we're here in Las Vegas. And I know more than anything that business owners are hungry for good people. That is one of the number one things that we get most. And I see it here in the chat. If this is your first time, I'd like, just for context for me, is more business owners keep trickling in live here at 5 o'clock on the West Coast here. How many of you, this is your first time? Say first. Clay says it's his first time. Amber, welcome for the first time. I appreciate it because we know something. We know in marketing, we know that time is most of the time more important and more valuable than money. So you taking the time to be here, I promise you this, I'm going to guarantee absolute value. When you leave in less than an hour here, when you leave this call, you are going to rethink how to build a team, how to attract, how to hire, how to inspire, how to build a robust team so that you can start replicating yourself and really scaling your business. We are going to over deliver on the value. Quick introductions. And I have a massive announcement that I don't want you to miss. So do me a favor and hang tight for the big announcement. I've got two big announcements, two massive announcements. Normally on Owners Live, we don't drop announcements this big, but tonight I've been given permission from Grant Cardone himself to launch this announcement. So get ready. You will be the first ones to hear this. So a quick introduction. First of all, I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Cardone Ventures. I work alongside our CEO, Brandon Dawson, who scaled his last business to 77 times EBITDA, $151 million. And the best question you could ask an individual that scaled their business to that height, what's the best question? How did you do it? Right? How did you do it? How did you start from scratch with no outside equity, with no investment, no capital, and scale it? How did you do it? How did you take this thing from nothing, using your own time and energy and history and experience and mentorship, and scale it to 77 times EBITDA, selling it for $151 million? Well, the answer is, and a lot of success and a lot of failure and a lot of blueprints that Brandon has built. Tonight, we will share those blueprints with you. If you're ready for the blueprint on how to find the perfect hire, show me the 10X. Guys, we're live for a reason. I want to see it. There's Miriam. I see the 10X. I see it. Jesse, I mean, he's working on the 10X. Mark's got it. Mark in Los Angeles has it. Who else has my 10X if you're ready for the perfect hire? I see you, Colleen, William, Carol. So good to see you guys. David, good to see you. Sasha, John, Jackie. So many of our usuals are here tonight as well. I'm not going to disappoint you. You come every single Tuesday and we over deliver for you every Tuesday. There is one thing I want to do before we complete introductions. This is an interactive show, okay? This is not where you sit and you listen to somebody talk about a bunch of boring things. We engage, we interact. I want your camera on. And the other thing I want you to do is share. I want you to share. Get out your phone and I want you to take some selfies while we're talking. I want you to do a video and I want you to tag Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson, Natalie Dot, tag them on Instagram. Say, hey, we're blowing it up tonight. We're doing big things with Owners Live. I want you to tag them. So make sure at any point tonight, as you receive value, I want you to hit that tag. So I'm going to introduce, and this is my first announcement. You know, you've heard Brandon Dawson and Natalie Dawson recently got married. For those of you that come every Tuesday, our CEO, Brandon, was engaged to the lovely Natalie Workman, and there was a beautiful wedding that took place in Mexico. Okay, now she is Natalie Dawson. There's another marriage that I want to tell you about. Big drum roll. Let me see a drum roll in the Zoom chat. Who wants to know? Who wants to know? Sherman's excited, man. He's really beating that drum roll. Guys, I'd like to officially announce my work wife. I'd like to come out of the closet and just say, hey, we all have work husbands and work wives, right? I'd like to introduce you to my work wife tonight, Heather Block.
What's up? Hi, hubby.
There she is. Guys, it's out now. It's out now. We've made it public. It's official. I'm going to update my status on Facebook. How long, Heather, have you worked with Brandon? Is it 8 years, 9 years? Where are you at now?
I'm at 13, almost 13.
Wow. 13 years with Brandon Dawson. And what would you say the number one thing you've learned over 13 years with Brandon Dawson? You know, to take a mind like that, somebody who's accomplished what he's done at such a young age and in such a short span, what would you say the number one thing is that you've picked up from Brandon that business owners tonight can be inspired by?
That you're thinking too small. You're always thinking too small. You gotta think bigger. You are capable of so much more than you ever thought possible.
So what you're saying is Brandon's really good at pushing you to the next level. Is that what
that would be a very nice way of saying that. Yes.
Yeah. So for the alum in the room, let's do this. Let's teach some of the newbies a little bit about what Brandon Dawson's philosophies are. So when you think about thinking big, what does Brandon always say about the way we think? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. What does Brandon always say about the way we as business owners, entrepreneurs, and senior leaders in our organization think? Danielle Johnson, it's like she had it ready and then she just pasted it. What you think is what you say. What you say is what you do. And what you do becomes your legacy. So think about that for a moment. If you're new here tonight, many of you that have experienced Brandon Dawson Cardone Ventures and any one of our educational programs or webinars or series, you know what that means. You're here tonight because you're thinking a certain way. Now, when you start speaking, you're actually putting that thought out into the open. And when you put that thought out into the open, you'll notice that things start happening around the way you speak. Those are the things that you and other people around you start to do. And so there really is an amazing lesson. But instead of going deep on thinking, tonight, we really want to talk about the perfect hire. So Heather, this is an area where you have a lot of expertise. This is an area where you've worked closely with Brandon. And I know that for some of you, you were able to attend the perfect hire training. For those of you that weren't, you are in luck because tonight, we've got amazing value that we're about to deliver. So the first piece to the perfect training, the perfect hire training, is Heather, the biggest thing we saw in the data when we asked business owners, what's your biggest challenge? Mm-hmm. Was that they were making bad hires. They took the accountability of like, I'm trying to build a business, I'm hiring people, but I'm hiring the wrong people. In fact, we heard a lot of horror stories. And tonight I'd love to see in the chat, tell me about your worst hire. Don't use full names, but tell me, what was your worst hire and why? Jesse Bounds was on the training. Hire slow, fire fast. That's right. You learned that on the training. What was it about that hire that was so bad? Now, unequivocally, Heather, something that we picked up through the data, through conversation and engagement with the audience, we know that of the bad hires, of businesses that make bad hires, a large percentage of them were friends and family. Yeah. We see that a lot. We see that. So if that's you, if you're like, hey, I've had some bad hires and they were actually close acquaintances, friends and families, I'd love to see that in the chat as well. So let's see. Just had the first two. This is Phoenix Rose. Just had the first full-time employees I hired resign within 24 hours of each other in an attempt to get me to bend on their demands. Oh, wow. Hostage scenario for Phoenix Rose. My God. Let's see. Karen, a friend's because I was so desperate. Yeah, you hired because you were desperate. Sherman says, worst hire. She was such a difficult, I just lost. It's moving fast. You guys you're engaging a lot tonight. She was such a difficult drainer, but she exhibited as the apostasy. Wow. My hire, let's see. Clay says, my hire business partner friend stole from our clients. Oh, Clay, That takes the cake. They went to jail. Clay had an employee go to jail for stealing. That is a bad hire. So Heather, when it comes to hiring, what are some of the biggest mistakes? Do we want to go into some of the data points, like the 35?
Yeah, I definitely think we should, because just so everyone knows, you're not alone.
Yeah.
74% of business owners have made bad hires, said that they made bad hires. Now that's acknowledgement, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of us that don't even know that we're making bad hires, and mostly because we're doing it from a standpoint where we're just doing instead of thinking first through it. So yeah, let's talk through some of the hiring mistakes, because there are some really good data points on
All right,
this.
Dimitri, if you'd pop up quick the hiring mistakes. I want to go to slide 3, where we're talking about some of those hiring mistakes. We know, go ahead and scan into slide 3. There you go. 35% knew the candidate didn't have the needed skills, yet assumed that could be learned quickly. Heather, can you talk just a little bit about why you would assume somebody has a skill versus hiring someone who actually has the skill to accomplish what you need?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're taking their resume at face value, right? And the fact is that a lot of us, I think you used the word, Buck, the desperate, like you just need to get somebody in there, you need to make it happen right now. And you just assume that, hey, we'll train them up. It's no big deal. Even if they don't have it on their resume, we'll get them trained up. We got this, right? We got somebody already doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not there.
Yeah.
And yet, you know that you can get it trained, or you assume you can get it trained very quickly.
Yeah. How many of you have been in that spot where you just assume they don't have the skill, but we'll just make it work? We're just taking a warm human body. Mark's admitting it already. We're just taking a warm human body and we're going to just plop them into that little hole. And then we're going to just let them spin around and see what they do. Kay says there right now, Kay Harmon. So let's move through we do have solutions for this. We do have some great solutions. Let's move through these stats. Let's move on.
Yeah.
32% took, go ahead.
This one though, Buck, I think you were probably going in the same direction, but taking a chance on a nice person. This is also code for let's hire friends and family. They're so nice. They can help us out.
Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Is it because we're comfortable with them and we already know them, or what?
Absolutely. Yeah, this has to do everything with us assuming that they're never going to do us wrong. They're always going to be there for us, very much like an unconditional type of feeling. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes that's where you actually get over leveraged, and it's like, well, now, even if they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, well, they're family. I can't get rid of them. But how much is that really costing you?
Oof. Yes. Somebody said in the chat here, who was it that just said it? It's I should know this. Todd Valling, a couple other you said trust. It's that you already the trust is established, but just because trust is established, that doesn't mean that it's the right person for the right job, for the right role.
Well, yeah. And Buck, trust meaning what? Trust that they are great at your family events and they're great, hanging out, but what about working in your business and, executing on operational elements or money, like all of a sudden, just because they're family, you're trusting them with your money and your finances. That happens a lot. I think a majority of people hire people in to do their books, that typically tends to happen.
I want to get to the cost of a bad hire. How many of you want to know what the actual cost of a bad hire is? Put 10X in the chat if you want to know the actual cost of a bad hire. We're going to get to that, but one more stat, 29% focused on skill.
There's two more stats, Buck. Let's do two more stats.
Let's go to 30% felt pressured to fill the role quickly. How many of you are in a race to fill these roles? How many of you are feeling that pressure? How about this? Instead of a yes or no, a metric, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I needed to hire him yesterday, put 10. If you're like, no, I hire strategically, I'm around a 2, a 3, a 4, 5. Where are you at? Murad says 1 million. Cindy says 10, lots of 10s. 2, 9, 6, 100, 2, 10, 4, 7, 4, 7, 7, 7, 6. Oh, 7, 7, 7. I'm in Vegas right now. Bright lights that are gonna set my soul. All right, 4, 10, 10, 3.3. Thomas, good for you. Slow and steady there. Mike says 5. So what is that pressure Heather, that makes business owners feel like they have to hire immediately?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it comes down to not strategically looking at the business forward and knowing when you're going to need to hire. Typically, it's all of a sudden we get slammed, we get busy, and then we just go, oh my God, I need someone to help me. I can't do all these things. It can't happen. So now we need to hire someone. Or we've got one of your already the current employees come to you and say, I'm so busy, I can't do all these things. I can't make it happen. Okay, we got to hire someone else. And it's more of a reactive nature than it is a proactive nature. And then what typically happens is they're like, hey, oh, this butt guy, oh, he's breathing. Oh, perfect. Let's bring him in.
Hey, that's what my wife said on my wedding day. My real wife. That's what she
your real wife.
Just for the record. By the way, I do love my wife, Allie, just in case you were wondering, we are still together. Heather, would you say, I want to ask a question, but would you say, and I kind of heard you saying this, it's pressure from the business on the shoulders of the business owner that makes them react. They're just like under this weight and they're like, I just need to hire someone to get the weight off, right? And so that's why they make fast, non-strategic decisions to move quickly. And then out of all of the different areas of the business, all the different pillars of the business, I want everyone in the chat to let us know, where are you making those pressured decisions faster? Is it marketing, sales, operations, finance, customer service? Where in the business are you feeling of the pressure? Where operations? I'm seeing a lot of operations. I saw one marketing, one sales, lots of operations. Wow. This is great data. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen this before, Heather? This is all operations.
I know. And normally it's going to be your sales. I didn't see much more. There's a marketing. Marketing.
Usually when
there'd be marketing.
When you hear marketing as the pressure point, it usually means you're losing flow into the business and you need a jump start. You need the emergency jump start. And that's when somebody says marketing has the pressure, it means that revenues are down, forecasts are down. There's a pressure for flow to come into the business. Your funnel all of a sudden is light. Your pipeline is a little bit empty. Your sales cycles are taking a little bit longer. I mean, being the CMO, I can understand that. So from an operations side, Heather, what is that telling you when a business owner is having an operational issue and feeling pressure to hire immediately?
Yeah, it's the fulfillment of the flow that you're talking about. So, I think we've been hearing a lot at a lot of our events lately that we have so much happening, so many products being sold. We don't have the team to actually fulfill or deliver on the promises now that we've made. And people are getting really scared about that. So they want to fill those roles really quickly in order to obviously service the clients. So it has to definitely do with delivery and service.
When you talk about delivery, it's when you really get into the retention of the business, right? So when I hear operations, all of a sudden I get nervous, because if operations becomes a negative area or attribute of the business, usually that means you're having bad experiences in the business and the customers aren't retained and they're not repeating. And we know that retention in the business is one of the key factors Brandon Dawson talks about on scaling past breakpoint 1 or breakpoint 2, is you've got to be able to retain exceptional experiences for your customer at all levels through all experiences. So it really is dangerous to see so many operational pressures on this chat. And I know that we need to get to the solutions quickly. So let's go one last data point I want to give you before we get to the cost of the bad hire. 29% focused on skills, not attitude. Why is attitude so important when we're hiring?
Oh my gosh. Attitude, first of all, is everything. Brandon always says and has always said, hire for attitude, train for results. Yep. You can absolutely train someone on skills. But when it comes to the heart and them being fully aligned to your core values, aligned to your why, when it comes to your mission, your vision, the impact that you're trying to make, not just selling transactionally a product and delivering on just a product, but creating a transformative experience for your clients, like Buck is saying, so they become a repeat, they become second money, which is so much easier than first money when that trust gets established. it is significantly more difficult to train attitude. And quite honestly, I would probably argue you can't train attitude. You absolutely, it can be a developed skill, but you train skills, right? That's what you train. So hire for attitude and train for results.
Wow, that is really powerful. How many of you are taking notes tonight? I want to see, I'm going to go full grid. Can you undo the presentation, Dimitri? I want to see full grid. There we go. Full grid. I want to see everybody. Show me your notes if you're taking you're jotting these notes. Troy's got them up. Mark's got them up. Carrie's got them up. Who else? Who
Me
else?
too.
Keep your Heather's taking notes. Danielle's got her notes. Michael, John. This is, guys, this is the kind of value that we were hoping you would get tonight. We want to make sure that you're receiving all of this information and you're retaining this information. And then the key is to then go apply this information to the way you work, to the way you run your business. One of the other things when we talk about hiring for attitude that Brandon has been saying, but more recently, I've heard him say it a lot. So if you've never heard Brandon say this, this is a great little nugget. Can we motivate people, Heather? Can we motivate people that are not motivated?
No, you cannot motivate people. You can only inspire individuals, because people motivate themselves. That is an internal attribute. You can only motivate you. So your job as a leader, as a business owner, as a key person inside the organization, is to ensure that you are doing everything to inspire. And that's when you inspire people, when you connect them, like I was saying earlier, to your why, to your mission, for them to understand that they have a place where they can achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals. It's only then do you put it back in their court where they have to actually take the action and motivate themselves to step into the opportunity.
So true. Let's really quickly, let's go to the cost of a bad hire, Dimitri. Slide 8 there, because now let's get into a solution. Now we know the problem. We know the challenge. We know we're under pressure. We're hiring fast. We're not looking at attitude. We're hiring for people that don't have skills and not training the right people that have the skills. So what would the cost? Let's get down to the definition of the cost of a bad hire. 30% of the individual's first year expected earnings. Now, Heather, can you break this slide down for us?
Yeah. First, I want to just say that there is a lot of information out there about the actual technical, precise cost. This is from the U.S. Department of Labor and Statistics. This is a generalization of approximately an average of 30%. So I want to put that out there before people, probably start putting some stuff in the chat. But here's the thing. It costs you money to just think pre, during, and post. We love using the terms pre, during, and post. So before you even get candidates, there is a significant amount of energy and resources that go into recruitment, into sourcing, into just time if you don't have a full-time recruiter, which by the way costs money, if you're doing it yourself, you're taking time away from doing other things that could be growing the business from a sales perspective, right? Then not to mention reviewing all the submissions that actually come in, that takes time, right? And then going through the interview process. One of the things about us is that we're at 77 employees right now, but we have we'll go through, and Brandon and Natalie have said this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's something like by the time to get to where we're at, we've had to go through almost like 200 interviews in order to actually net 77 individuals. And every single one of those individuals went through 3 rounds, right? Not to mention all of the pre-work. So just to kind of put things into perspective, it just costs a lot of money. Now that's on the pre-front, right? Now imagine the during is like when you're actually hiring someone and you're onboarding them, there is an exponential amount of time spent trying to get that person spooled up, not just to their job, but also what the company does. That's a very significant thing so that they can understand their overall impact and not just in this siloed, blinders on just doing my little job right here. No, you're a part of something much bigger, and everything works in sync and choreograph in order to create the biggest impact and to actually help the clients reach whatever goals they're trying to reach. And so that's all the during, that's just onboarding, and then once they make it past onboarding, their contributions in that individual role and how they actually impact the business. And let's say that you actually fire them or they quit because the expectations weren't met, there's a ripple effect within the culture too. There's team morale, the stress of all of a sudden somebody was hired and that other person, your employee that was working the job's excited. They're like, yes, we get to duplicate and I get to take some of these things off my plate. We get to delegate. And then 4 weeks later, this person's gone because the proper steps weren't put in order. We didn't hire for the right reasons. And now you've brought that individual, that employee that was excited down because they got to take on all that stuff again. And maybe they had spent those last 4 weeks trying to develop their next round of growth. And now they got to take a step back. So that definitely impacts morale. And what if you unleash them with customers? And now here you are 4 to 6 weeks later, having to let customers know, hey, remember that person we just introduced you to? Yeah, they're no longer with us. And then your customer's like scratching their head, like, what just happened?
And then that lowers
Right?
trust. And then as you lower
Good.
trust,
Yeah.
there's less conversion, because the whole
Yeah.
key is developing real relationships that earn trust so you can convert more deals and convert them faster. So it's a ripple effect, really, isn't it, Heather?
A huge ripple effect, that like a tsunami style, that sometimes people don't understand. Like I said, that pre, that during, and that post effect, it
Yep.
really truly spans
Yep.
an ocean.
Let's do this for context to everyone that's here tonight, to make sure that we can deliver exceptional value to you. I'd love to know what breakpoint you're at. Brandon talks about breakpoints. How many of you are under 1 million, put under 1 million, and then put over 1 million if you're over 1 million, under or over 1 million in revenue, over or under 1 million, over, under, over, over. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. We're all friends. We're all part of the 10X network here. Let's put it out there. Let's remove the filters, remove the insecurities. Let's just be straight. Put the number in there. What is your revenue? I want to see that. Okay, 300K, 700K, 1.2, 20 million, 1.2. You guys are fast. 877, 6 million, 150, 1.3. So we're no one, I'm not seeing anyone. There's a couple 10 millions. There's some bigger businesses here, 40K, 1K, some startups. That's okay. Startups are great too. You've got a lot of opportunity ahead of you. 80K, 1.2. This is great. So I'm seeing a sweet spot tonight in the 1 to 5 mil, 1 to 3 mil. I'm seeing a sweet spot in there. That's where most of the business owners are. I'm seeing a little over indexing in the 6 to 10 million, which is great. So Heather, as we hit those breakpoints as business owners, and you see those tsunami ripple effects that you're talking about from the bad hires, what are some of the worst mistakes that someone at the $1 to $3 million mark, just to super serve that audience right now, what are some of the worst mistakes they're making in that first breakpoint?
Yeah, well, first of all, it is all of the mistakes that the 4 stats that we just talked about, for sure. Right. That's happening, right? Because they're trying to leverage what they can based upon the growth that they're trying to achieve. Yeah. But then also, I think one other element that we haven't touched on is not letting go of people fast enough. They just keep a hold of people because they are so afraid to let that, even if they know that it was a bad hire. Yep. They're so afraid to let that person go because they just don't want to step back down into the day-to-day, like the operational components, let's say, or that because they've just now moved into just full-on sales and they're driving flow and they just don't want to step back down. They don't want to take a step back, right? That's one of their biggest areas, because they haven't done that yet. When you're scaling 1 to 3 million, maybe you haven't yet got to the point where you've gotten knocked back a few mil. You know what I mean? Yeah, true. You're still on that path. And so therefore you hold on to the things that, and those are the things that actually end up costing you harder in the long run, or costing you more in the long run. And sometimes you got to make that decision, cut that person, take one tiny step back in order to take 2 or 3 steps forward and break through that three break point to get up to that 3 to 8 million, that break point. Bell
says, this is me. Yes, this is me. Wow. Yeah. Give me some. Oh, the questions are already coming in. We love questions, by the way. Why would we do a live Zoom if we couldn't interact and specifically answer your questions? So here's what I want you to do. If you have a question, do what Jackie just did. Do what our friend Dr. N just did. Put your hand up. Do you know how to raise your hand? If you've never done this on Zoom, tonight's the night. I want you to do this on Zoom. Go down to reactions. Look at the bottom. See that little smiley face with reactions? Click on it. And then see where it says raise hand, hit that. I want you to raise your hand. Now, this is the only rule. This is the only rule we ask. If you're going to ask a question, please have your camera on. We want to see you. We want to talk to you. We want to go face to face. So if you're going to, we don't care if you're on the phone. We don't care if you're in the robe. We don't care if you're in bed. Every now and then we get a bedside chat. Every now and then we get a little PJ slumber party. That's okay. We'll get into bed with you. It's no big deal. So I'm just saying, if you have a question, raise your hand, and we're going to get to questions towards the end here in the next 20 to 30 minutes. But a good question that I'm going to save for you, Heather, from Wonderland says, give some hard examples of questions you should ask during the interview process. That might be one of the biggest true or false, Heather? Is that one of the biggest questions we get when it comes to filtering great talent and great attitudes?
Yeah, 100%. You want to ask the hard questions. You know, Buck, you're really, really good at asking hard questions, by the way. And I'm not just pumping up your tires. I mean it. Like, you're really good on interviews with that.
Well, you know, I'm going to give credit to Natalie Dawson. She and remember you said hundreds of interviews to get to 77 hires. Yeah. I've been on probably 85% of those hundreds of interviews. And I have modeled after Natalie's hard questions. She is relentless. And so I know exactly, we do have, to answer your question, Wonderland, we do have a series of very specific questions that will immediately filter out the negativity, immediately filter out somebody who's full of fluff with no hard facts, experience, or data. We have all the questions that you can use to filter that out, and we will get to those in a moment. Dimitri, I'm going to have you close the slide for a second because I do want to make this big announcement that I promised, that I have a big announcement. Grant has allowed me to make this announcement here tonight with Heather, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Do you see this? Look at the camera. Do you see this? Who sees this? Okay, you're all trying to get a glimpse. I know. Look at this. This is happening. The Perfect Hire Summit. So everything that you're just beginning to learn tonight is going to be talked about by Grant, by Brandon, by Natalie in person in Miami, December 12th, in person, a one-day summit, the Perfect Hire Summit. How many of you, if you're receiving value in 20 minutes, how many of you want a full day in person with the masters, Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson, Natalie Dawson? How many of you want that for all? Yes. In person, it's happening December 12th. Oh, Cindy already bought hers. She got hers. Let's see. Bill's in. Jackie says, heck yes. So we're gonna put a QR code up for you right now. This is a QR code that you can scan. Now, before you scan it, I want you to listen carefully. Natalie Dawson has a new book. Okay, there's a new book that she's launching, and she's having a private book launch party. And the book is called Teamwork. Can you guess what it's about? It's about hiring and establishing a great culture in your business. So this book, Teamwork, is launching. To the next 5 individuals, I have authority for the next 5 individuals that purchase the Perfect Hire Summit. You get VIP access to the book launch party. You will get VIP access to the book launch party to come hang with Natalie Dawson, and you'll get an autographed copy of the new Teamwork book from Natalie. Mic drop. That happened. Right now, the race is on. I see Dorina's moving her fingers really fast. She's trying to get her ticket before it's too late. Lori's saying, hey, how much time do I have to compete right now against Daniel? So that is going to be your opportunity to not only be a part of the book launch for Teamwork with Natalie Dawson, but also join us at the one day in person, December 12th in Miami, Florida. Book your flight. And by the way, the question kept coming up to me the other day, where do you book the flight? Book it on the 11th because we start early on the 12th and then leave on the 13th. There's nothing worse to me. If you're going to spend $1,000 for the Perfect Hire Summit, it's $997, by the way. And with that, you get the people employee engagement equation, and you get a 4-week live training from Brandon and Natalie. So included in that $997, you're going to get the Perfect Hire Summit. You're going to get the people employee engagement equation and the 4-week live training. All 3 of these things are coming bundled for you for $997. But nothing drives me more crazy than if you're going to come to a one day and you've invested $997 into your business. Why would you leave on the day of when there's all these great 10X entrepreneurs? Some are actual business partners or potential partners for your business. Why would you leave when we always have a social gathering towards the end or afterwards? And so you're going to want the time all day on the 12th. So come on the 11th or sooner. and then leave on the 13th if you're planning this trip, just before the holidays really kick into gear. So this is your last chance to get prepped up to have the perfect hire before the new year. And this was Brandon's guarantee. Brandon has guaranteed that anybody who purchases cardoneventures.com/hire or scan the QR code, either way, scan that QR code with your phone or type in cardoneventures.com/hire, and you'll see that in the chat as well. The team's going to put that in the chat if they haven't already. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Enrique put it in. Enrique, put that in the chat one more time, please. cardoneventures.com/hire. Brandon guarantees next year, 2022, if you don't hire that very specific person who you needed to be the perfect hire, he will refund you the $997. That's his guarantee. Talk about absolute unequivocal trust and value. He knows it. If you're here, if you're coming to the one-day summit, you join the employee engagement equation, you join the 4-week live mentor training, he says there's no chance you're failing on hiring that perfect individual, and he will guarantee it with a money back guarantee on the $997. So I want to see you in December 12th. How many of you had not heard of this, have not purchased, and you're going to purchase right now? How many of you are saying, I'm all in on this, I'm dedicated, I want to blow the business up in 2022, I need the perfect hire, and I want to be a part of this with you? Put it in the chat, put 10X. Mike's in, Reese is in. The book launch, Reese, the book launch happens 2 days before December 12th. So if you get in on the first 5 purchases, Kate says she's in, Murad's in. Who else is in? Tanya is already in. The book launch is 2 days before the event. So if you do end up winning that book launch experience, you're going to come in 2 days before December 12th. Okay, awesome. Dimitri, let's go back to the learning, because I want to get to the 3-step process. Now what you're going to get in the next 10 minutes before we go into questions, you're going to get a high-level view of what you're going to learn at the one-day summit. This is a high-level view. Obviously, we're limited on time, but we want to give you as much value as possible. So Heather, let's break into step 1, step 2, step 3. Promotion of your brand, promotion of the job, promotion of the culture. Can you talk a little bit about step 1?
Yes, absolutely. And, I was realizing we say step, but really it's just like 1, 2, 3. Like you need to do all of these things, by the way.
Right.
And they at the same time, right? Like not always a step 1, step 2, step 3. But anyway, promoting your brand. Listen, you guys have a culture, or you should be building a culture. What are you trying to achieve as an organization? And what are you going to do every single day to get there? How do you operate? What are the rules of engagement? This is what's known as your mission, vision, and values. You need these things in your business in order to attract good and great people, and then to develop them and retain them into excellent and remarkable individuals. Because those individuals who are great, when people say, I can't find great people, or I can't keep great people are looking for careers and impact. That's what they're looking for. And so you need to be able to establish this and promote this ahead of time. I don't think people, when you think about posting a job description, like they're like, put it out there, post a job description, but the key element that you're missing is, how are you selling yourself? Yeah. How are you promoting how you operate and what your team is like? And you got to remember, it's not just the candidate's job to try to sell you on them. You have to sell yourself out there on your brand as well. Like what your company can provide that individual. I mean, this is mutual, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people forget that or don't know that. You don't know what you don't know. That's right. Hey, something Natalie said last Tuesday, and that's really, I just love it when these little golden nuggets just, you get sound effects tonight, by the way. When these little nuggets just drop on Owners Live, Natalie, last Tuesday, she said, it isn't about what you have when you're hiring. So this goes with promote your brand, mission, vision, values. It isn't what you have as an organization. It's where you're going and your ability to paint that picture. Think about that for a moment. As you promote your brand, everybody says, yeah, but I don't have an office. Yeah, but I have an office, but it's a temp space. Yeah, I don't really have kombucha on tap, or I don't have a great whatever plan, but it's your job as the owner, as the senior leader, to inspire where you're going,
what you're building. Think about the fact Brandon Dawson hired me. I think I'm fourth employee after you, Heather.
Yeah.
Brandon hires me with no office. There was no official Cardone Ventures office. I think there was like $5 on the revenue books. Like I think it was negative revenue because he had invested.
Never negative.
It was never negative. But he hadn't even started creating the flow for the business yet. And he was able to attract me, not because of what the Cardone Ventures had, but because of what he said he was building and the way he inspired a plan and a structure of where we were going. So the same thing's true when you think about promoting your brand. You've got to be able to inspire where you are going. Now, Heather, what is mission, vision, and values, and why is that important?
Well, like I was saying, okay, first of all, what you're saying, Buck, is so critical. It's the where are we going? You have to be crystal clear on what that ideal scene looks like in the next 5, 10 years. Right. Big picture opportunity, because what you're painting is something for people to truly align with. You want those top contributors to come in and say, hey, I want to take the hill with you, which is what the mission is. It's the thing you do every day to make sure that we are tracking towards that vision. And then the values are it's the rules of engagement. It's our operating methodologies and philosophies. It's, as a business owner, this is law of attraction and law of magnetism. Like, you want to bring people into this culture that are like-minded and that have the same type of values. And without those being established and without you actually perpetuating them within your organization, you might find and attract people, but you won't develop and retain and align. And those elements are also the big cost factors when it comes to when you have turnover, right? So it's finding, it's attracting, it's aligning the individuals to the vision and the mission of the business, understanding how to develop them using the values and all of the opportunity, and then it's retaining them. And that's how you grow and build incredible cultures.
Okay, so when you talk about promoting the job, now you've promoted the big vision, the big inspiration. This is who you are, where you're going, the mission, the vision, the value. Now, what is it about the objectives, the competencies, and the metrics that people need to think about as they hire that top talent in their business?
Yeah, this is all about creating the transparency in what will be expected and what you will be holding people accountable to. And the objectives of any type of job description are going to be, hey, this is what we're looking for. These are the transactional requirements that you want somebody to fulfill, which is basically what they're going to bring to the table, their knowledge, their skills, and their abilities. Above that, though, creating the picture of what the opportunity is going to look like. What competencies are you going to have on the table and help them develop in this particular position that's going to lead them on a journey through what we call the employee maturity model, right? Like this particular job has required objectives that we want to have hit, but we have competencies that we want you to lean into and we want to help develop and build you with. And that's a critical key component, I think, in a lot of job descriptions that are missing, what the opportunity can look like. And finally, metrics. How do you measure the effectiveness of the role? If people, I think Natalie might have said this a couple of owners' lives ago, and I know she said it a couple of different times, but if you want top performers, if you really truly want to attract those types of individuals, just know that they want to be held accountable, meaning that they want to be measured. They want to know where they stand and what areas they need to improve in so that they can further impact the business. And if you don't have clear metrics for the role, like the top 3 to 5 ways to measure the effectiveness, then it's hard for them to want to stay, like retain those individuals, because if they don't know where they're at or how they can improve, then it's a blind spot for them. And that's not fulfillment. And they don't know if they're going to be able to achieve their goals. So having metrics identified and communicated on the forefront will really differentiate you when it comes to a job description.
Love that. Hey, can I just really quickly, Dimitri, can you take the presentation off? I just want to showcase really quick. I had some passes for the Perfect Hire Summit. So 2 of these for the book launch are now gone. Literally 1 left. If you were even thinking about it and you were like, let me check my dates, let me look at my calendar, you're like, maybe I can make just listen, what does Grant say? Commit first and what? What does he say? Commit first. Somebody say it in the chat. Come on, don't leave me hanging. Figure it out later. You guys know it. Commit. Just make the commitment. It'll follow. Success follows commitment. Make that commitment. Be the one to grab this one. Who wants this? I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm going to hand it. I'm going to personally hand it to you. Don't be the one to be left out on this because you wanted to check a calendar, check with your loved one to see if you could actually go surprise them on a beautiful trip to Miami, Florida. See, let's go, Joel. Let's go, guys. Risa wants it. Here you go. Here it is. Put the link in there, Enrique. Risa wants it. Raisa wants it. Okay, put the link in there for cardinalventures.com/hire. That's what it is. cardinalventures.com/hire. All right, awesome. Let's get back to the value. Yeah.
I got a question. Well, I know we already went to promote the job, but from a promote your brand standpoint, we talked to Colleen Carberry this week, and she is the epitome, her and Advanced Medical Integration are the epitome of promoting your brand and changing your hiring strategy. Is she on the call? Because if possible, I know I'm going out of sync with, and I know this is your,
this is great. I see. I just unmuted her. Colleen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Welcome to Owners Live. I mean, you're here every Tuesday. I see your shining face every single Tuesday, but I'd love to, Heather's point, I'd love to get an example of how you've used some of these models that you've learned from Brandon and then applied it to the business to actually create some traction.
Yeah, great. Okay, so Advanced Medical Integration is a company that actually puts healthcare businesses together in the pain space to deliver healthcare without drugs or surgery. That's basically responsible pain management without drugs or surgery. Mike's yelling in the other room. But to speak to what you're asking me, that mission of ours is so huge. And it starts actually with our HR department. When we actually advertise for employees, and for us, we don't have a problem finding people at all. And it's because we actually market our mission. We promote by using the mission through our HR lines. And so what that does is it brings in a whole plethora of candidates. But probably more importantly, we've actually been able to hire candidates who personally have been touched by the opioid crisis, whether it's themselves personally or family members. And that by actually marketing using our mission, it is pulling people who align with us to begin with. Okay. And then once we bring them into our ecosystem, we've done pretty much everything that Cardinal Ventures has taught us. We use our PPFs. We have built out a full employee maturity model. We've done each step of the way, and it was a culmination, which was on last Friday. We had an all hands team meeting. And what that was we actually shut everything down and had the whole team. Okay. And what we did was we spent the day actually pulling the team together with all of the assets that we had been building. And we pulled them all together and we called the team engagement model. So this was one of Brandon's brainchilds, which is he had the Patients for Life process, and then the patient engagement model in our world. But this is where we say somebody from outside of our ecosystem, how we pull them in using our mission. So we promote using our mission in, and then our doctors come through our whole ecosystem and they touch each staff member. And what we did was every department had to get up and they had to talk about what they produced in their department that had to do with the whole ecosystem. Because remember, our final product is clients who have practices that are treating patients on the ground without drugs or surgery in the pain space. So not prescribing pain medication. And so each team member had to get up and talk about, we used Bob as an example. So Bob in Ohio wakes up in the morning and he's in a pain scale of 8 out of 10. Where does he go for his care? And in America, it's urgent care, emergency room. It's your family physician. And in both instances, you're prescribed a medication.
Right.
So our mission is to put the AMI clinics on the ground. So everybody had to get up and say how they personally, with what they do every day, feeds the mission of the company, which is that Bob has a choice of healthcare. And it was actually remarkable because, first of all, I didn't realize 70% of the AMI employees, the opioid crisis has touched either them personally or a family member, whether they were addicted. And so we just sat there at the end of the day and we all just sat back and were like, man, they crushed it. The team crushed it because it kind of pulled them all together and aligned them with the mission. And I know you guys talk about mission, vision, core values, and we hang it on walls and people talk about it. But this was mission at its truest form, that they all talked about how every day what they do at every moment actually affects the mission and Bob in Ohio. So
Somebody put a 10x in the chat if you are inspired by the way Colleen is driving change and effect in this space, but also in her business. That's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Colleen.
Thank you guys so much. We learned a lot of what we did and pulled it together from you guys. So thanks for the mentoring.
It's so great. And if you're listening to Colleen and you're going, you're like, wow, the maturity model and EMM and PPF, and you're just like, what? There's a bunch of letters and models. If you're like, I don't know what any of that is.
But that's the best thing though, that they don't, because it takes time, and they have shown up and stayed plugged in, like the perfect hire value system. Like that's something that Colleen will still do with her team, because she's going to stay plugged in, keep honing in, sharpening her saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we have applicants that we didn't even hire that still send us information and articles we'd want. Please show the team this. I know I'm not on the team, but please show the team this. They really need to see this. And that is the mission right there. The mission is what pulled it all in.
That's amazing. Colleen, thanks for sharing. I appreciate you showing up and continuing on like you always do and showing up to Owners Live. Appreciate you guys. And really love the mission more than anything. Just like I can appreciate the purpose of what you guys are doing for healthcare. So Heather, we got about 10 minutes. You want to segue? I know we didn't get through all you had. I think you
I'll
had
just really quickly. The
one.
last one, step 3 is promote your culture. I'll just say, you don't need to do the slide, Dimitri, but promoting your culture means hire slow, fire fast, meaning you need to have a process that you stay disciplined to. One of the stats talked about hiring too quickly, hiring for skills, not attitude. Those types of things can be eliminated by being disciplined to a very specific process. We have a 10X interview process. It's 3 different steps. And when we say hire slow, fire fast, it's not duration of time. It's staying disciplined to hitting all 3 points of the interview process, no matter who you're hiring, how fast you need them. Stay disciplined. It could take 3 days, it could take a week, but stay disciplined to those 3. The 10X interview process is what I'm talking about.
Okay, really quickly. I want to ask a question, and then I want to congratulate a few people, but here's the question I'm going to ask. You have an interview for a very important role, the most important role in your company right now. Jesse's already thinking about it. I can tell. Carol's getting ready. She's putting her thinking cap on. Amber's just curious, what's this question going to be? You have the most important hire. You can only ask the candidate one question. That's it. What question do you ask? Put it in the chat right now. Joe, put it in there. John, put it in there. Scotty, I want to see it. Is it Phyllis? Phyllis, put it. Phyllis, come on. Pump it up a little bit, Phyllis. She's falling asleep on me. Phyllis, am I boring you? Are you getting value out of this? I'm picking on Phyllis. I'm kidding. Kay, put it in there. Is that your husband in there, Kay? Who is that? Your boyfriend, your brother, your husband? Okay. Kay, you discuss some. Oh, you got dad in there too? Or who's in there? Everybody's in there? All right, guys. Discuss it as a group, put it in. The one question you can ask to that strategic hire. And then I'm going to ask Heather what her favorite first question is. Okay, so let's see. How do you embody and exemplify our core values? Jackie's assuming they already know the core values. Dominic says, what difficult thing have you been through? And can you describe it, Dominic? Interesting question. Interesting. What research have you done on our company? What's your vision? What have you done? Jean's just like, tell me, what have you done? Tell me your success story. Jesse, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Jesse, have you been training with us a little bit? I think Jesse has. What brings you into the market? Joel, you're talking about a lead. I think instead of an interview, you might be talking about a lead gen. Tim, why us? David Gilbert, why did you respond to our ad to get hired? Okay, these are all great. Heather, go ahead. What's your number one question that you're going to ask?
Well, you said earlier, what was the first question I would ask?
Yeah, the first. What is the first?
Yeah, it's on my number one. I'm going to say the first question every single time that I ask is, what do you know about Cardone Ventures, and why did you apply for this position?
Great question. That is a great first
It
question?
filters hardcore.
What does it show you? Tell me why that's your first question. What does it show
Uh,
you?
well, first of all, context is important here. I bleed blue, black, red, and I know everyone bleeds red, but the point is those are most of our colors. Like I eat, sleep, drink everything we do. I love what we do. I'm fully aligned and
Right.
love everything about us. Okay, got that. I say that because I want people to have done their research on us, because there's so much out there. I don't want us to just be like this application machine, because a lot of people are just applying for lots of jobs and it's really
Called the shotgun.
transactional.
It's called the
Yeah, the
shotgun.
shotgun.
We get it all the time.
Yeah.
We get it all the time.
Yeah, it's for me, it's just not aligned. We won't be aligned later. And
Yep.
it filters out so much when they say, oh, you're a company that does health businesses between 2 million and
Yeah.
50 million.
Yeah, they're reading the homepage.
They're reading the,
yeah.
Mhm.
You guys work with Grant Cardone, right? Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah. Yeah, we get that all the time. You're out. You're immediately out. The minute
Yeah,
you don't show that you've put in any time or research,
Well,
nothing's better, Heather, when somebody says, fuck, I appreciate that question. And first of all, I want to say, when I heard you talking to Brandon on a podcast from 7 months ago, where you said X, Y, and Z, like it just shows that they've done in-depth research. They have a real passion for where they're going. Nothing works better than when somebody's done their research. My next question, just in case you're taking notes at home, tell me about where you see yourself in the next 1, 3, and 5 years. And let me tell you why. Anybody who's going through our network to join our culture, if they are not goal-oriented, they are never going to survive. Now, does that mean they have to have a perfect, clear plan of their goals? No. But it means they've had to have thought about it. They at least need to be an individual. And this goes back to Heather's point. You cannot motivate someone. You can inspire them. But if they're not motivated on their own to have goals in the first place, you're never going to go, hey, by the way, we've got a great system for you to achieve your goals. I don't really care about my goals. I'm not goal motivated, right? You got to block them out of your culture, block them out of your system. So that's the next best question you can move in. Speaking of questions, let's move into your questions. So I see a lot of hands. I'm going to go Dorina first. So Dorina's got her camera on. We're going to ask to unmute if she's paying attention. Here she comes. Oh, she's coming.
I am. How are
She's
you?
coming.
Can you hear me?
Suspense. Hey, good. Welcome to Owners Live, Dorina. How can we help you tonight? How can we service you?
Well, yeah, I was at a thing and I got here late, so I may be not asking a question that's entirely relevant.
Oh, go for it. Let's hear it.
I'm in a position where I'm basically by myself.
Okay.
I am doing very, very high ticket mentoring and 6 figures plus
Okay.
per client. And I have not yet hired somebody to help. And I'm sitting here going, okay, what is my best first hire? I'm not going to find somebody that can do what I do right now or any piece of it. Do I hire a salesperson? That's what I'm thinking. So many people are running around. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let me answer your question with a question.
Yeah.
By making the right decision, how much revenue do you think this individual would bring to your organization? How much more revenue do you think this role or person would bring to your organization?
They'd probably double what I'm doing, maybe more, if it's somebody really good.
Qualifying question. Second question. If you were to invest $997 in the Perfect Hire One Day Summit, would $1,000 be equal to or under doubling your business?
Yeah, I know what you're doing. It would be, I mean, that is nothing in comparison to what
Thank
they
you.
would
Okay,
increase
just
revenue.
context and contrast. I just wanted to make the observation. Just for anybody that's considering one day in Miami, I wanted to make the observation. 997, she's talking about doubling by hiring the right person. And
Yeah.
by the way, if you don't, guaranteed refund of $997.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm in Palm Beach, so I get in the car and drive. So
All right,
brainer.
Dorina, guys, put in the chat for Dorina to 10x her business right now, please. Everybody motivate. Well, you can't motivate, but you can inspire. Inspire Dorina right now to make the right motivation. Everybody tell her to 10x her business. Christina knows. Look at Anthony and Miguel. Heather, can you add some value to that question? She wants to make that first strategic hire in her business. Really, where should her mind be when she makes that choice? Because I know Brandon always says you can't hire people to solve your problems. So then how should she do this?
Yeah, Dorina, it's about compartmentalizing your activities and figuring out what your highest impact versus your lowest impact activities are. Highest meaning what drives the business revenue, obviously coaching the clients, making the sales, but there's lots of other activities in the business that you're doing that have more of a lower impact, right? They're not driving the revenue that way, but they're support. You want to bifurcate those two things, and you'll most likely hire first for someone to help you with those lower impact activities. But there's a lot more to it. That's just a very high level way to look.
Yeah.
Dorina, come spend some time.
Come spend time with us.
Come spend time.
I've been down there 5 or 6 times so far this year.
Well, not with Heather, because you need to spend time with
Come
Heather.
on,
With Heather,
let's
no.
Get the rest of that answer,
I've been on the sales marketing side.
Can't wait. You'll love it.
Love it. Thank you,
Anyway.
Dorina. Appreciate you showing up tonight. Let's go to another question. I know we're going to run a little late, but I want Jackie. It's ladies' night tonight. Ladies' night. Jackie, go ahead.
Hey, Buck. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. Welcome to Owners Live.
Thank you. So I have a question for you and Heather, probably more Heather.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of times when we're scaling out oldest employees, or there's somebody that winds up falling out, we do have kind of a problem child needing some help with best practices. When you have an employee that's been with you a long time and now they've turned towards more of a negative attitude, unmotivated, affecting the rest of the team, and it's a problem, needs to be addressed.
Yeah, you got a drainer in the network and they are spoiling the milk for everybody, right?
Yeah, and it hasn't, I mean, it's sad because that wasn't the way this person always was. So, but it is the way it is now, and we need to address it. And I think we need to do it sooner than later.
Heather, what's the best advice you could give in less than 60 seconds? I know we're running out of time here, but
Well, I mean, obviously I have lots of questions for you, Jackie, but I guess the question is, are you already certain that this person is not salvageable, or is there some sort of salvageability there? If that's a word.
I think the best answer is I probably have not exhausted every resource, but I've
Okay.
exhausted every resource that I have
Okay,
to
one
help
thing-
this person.
Okay. So this is a great question to ask yourself, what you just said, Jackie. And this is something Brandon says all the time, but the definition of leadership is making other success easy. This is Brandon's definition. Now I say this because, to your point, have you set this person up for full success? There are a lot of things inside the development portion of our people equation, which you do get, by the way, in that online course that's a part of this people value system. You need to make sure that you're completely setting up the picture of success. You provided all the tools and resources for them to step into that. You're going through, tell me, show me, let me, coach me, all these elements. If you've done everything from your commitment side of the equation to this employee, and then they still haven't reciprocated, then it's time to let them go. But if they haven't, and if they still are trying, it's what we call skill versus will. And you want to make sure you've done everything you can to set them up for the skill portion, for them to step into the opportunity. And if you've done all of that, then the choice becomes exceptionally easy. It becomes pragmatic and quick. This is where the hire slow, fire fast can happen. But you as a leader have got to take the necessary steps to set the expectations and provide the framework. That's your job. This perfect hire value system will get, guys, this is the gateway to all of that information.
that's
Like
right.
I personally would buy this 10 times over because of the book, because of the online course, the one-day summit, and the fact that there's live mentor calls that complement the online course. I mean, it is literally, and I'm not just saying this to say this, I mean, it's a total value. I can't even believe that we're doing it the way we are. So Jackie, there's a lot more to that. And I know this is more than 60 seconds, Buck, and I apologize, but I just want to put that out there. You
Over
guys
the
have to make sure you are, as business leaders, don't make it just the employee's fault. It's also you taking full responsibility, which Jackie, I know you are.
That's exactly it. Jackie, thank you for joining Owners Live. I do want to thank Lori. Lori has just signed up. Let's see who else has just signed up. We've got, I'm going to go through the list here. Is it Jay Burleson? Jay Burleson? Zayvon, thank you. We will see you in Miami. Kim Fisher, spicecsm.com. Kim, thank you for signing up. And then of course, Joel and Audrey, thank you guys for signing up. We will see you in Miami. Put it up one more time, Dimitri, just so everybody gets full context to the value of what you get in this package. So it's a 5K one-day summit, but we're going to give you this whole bundle for $997 tonight on Owners Live. You've got the people employee engagement equation, which we usually would run at $2,997, and then a 4-week mentor training. Any mentor training has always been $997. If you've ever been in the Cardone network, that's what mentor trainings cost. They're $1,000, $997 for 1 month of training. We're going to do all three: 1 day in person, employee engagement equation, and the 4-week training. And you're going to bundle the whole thing for $997. Chrissy, thank you for signing up. Chrissy just signed up. I would love to meet you in person. We truly are about relationships. So that's why we do this every Tuesday, because we just want to meet you. We want to learn about your business, what struggles you're having, and how we can connect with you and help grow it past the $1 million break point, the $2 and $3 million break point, get to the 10, the 50, the $100 million break point. We want to get there with you. But to do that, you'll hear Brandon and Grant say this all the time. It takes people. People move the business. So people don't always mean customers. Sometimes we get transactional in nature and we think people mean, oh, I just need more customers. No, people mean you might need technology. You might need automation. You might need acquisitions. You might need mergers. You might need coaches. You might need business management. You might need partners like Cardone Ventures to help you realize the things that you don't know about your business. This is that moment. So go ahead, Dimitri, you can remove that. I want to see you in 2022 do things that you've never done before. I want to see your business hit those new levels. Grant says this, and I believe it 100%. This business that I'm in, the business that I am invested, like Heather is, this business does not succeed if you don't succeed. I can sit here till I'm blue in the face explaining things, but if you don't take those things, join us, connect, develop a relationship, and implement them, then there is no business model for us. So I need you to succeed in order for us to succeed. So that is our number one priority: is your personal, your professional, and your financial goals. You crushing those, that's all we care about. We want to see you crush it. So I appreciate you guys tonight. Heather, anything you want to close out with?
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. There's so many people with their hands raised.
I know.
I wish we could just kind of keep going. I love this stuff.
All right, David, Anthony, Lori, I see you already bought your ticket. Jose, Dr. Patel, John, I want to see you guys in Miami. I want to spend time. I want to eat lunch with you. I want to do the happy hour. I want to hear what struggles you're having. Let's connect. Let's build the relationship. Let me know what struggles you're having, and let's get you past them. Let's move on. What does Grant say? Your problems aren't big enough. Let's get bigger problems. Whatever problem you have your hand up for right now, let's get bigger problems. Those are small problems in comparison with the problems you want to have in 2022. So in order to do that, let's make that connection happen. Lizelle, thank you for the clap. Lizelle's losing her mind. Guys, make some noise. Get some energy tonight. Let's see it. Pump it up. Let's close out with a little bit of energy. I'm going to pass it back to our friends Enrique, our friends Ashley and Josh, who are going to help you answer any questions you might still have on what is taking place in Miami, December 12th. How can I be a part of the Perfect Hire Summit? And we'll see you guys right here, back here on 10X Owners Live next Tuesday. Have a fantastic 10X evening, and I'll see you guys in Miami.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.